Hello, it's Louise Platt at Spiral Bright Insight. And if we've not met before, I'm an intuitive astrologer. I work with traditional astrology, but also weave in fixed stars, cosmic points, asteroids, dwarf planets, and all sorts of other incredible celestial bodies to really kind of add depth to interpreting what is going on in the skies and how that is showing up for us in real time as humans on Earth in these incredible times. So yeah, it's great to have you here, and I hope you enjoy what I've got to share. And today's video is another energy check-in, which is something that I do as and when I'm called to. I'm very conscious that I've already done one in the last 7 days, but what is coming up at the moment is, well, again, and I should really say before I go any further that what I'm sharing is my own experience, my own truth, my own perspective, my own understanding. So, hopefully it will resonate. I get lots of people commenting saying that it does and that I'm spot on. And but equally, if it's not for you, or you're not quite experiencing things in the same way, that is fine, because everybody is unique. And particularly when I start talking about astrology, there is no one set fixed way to interpret the astrological transits and the placements in a chart. So I'm really calling on my intuition and really allowing all these energies and planets and points and stars to speak to me. And when we listen, it's quite remarkable what they've got to share. So what I was going to say is that I feel we have stepped into this time, and we've kind of been in it for a while, but it feels like it's kind of gone up a level, where things are moving incredibly quickly. And sometimes I'm feeling quite frustrated by that, because I'll create some content, it'll take me a while to upload it and share it. And then within a few hours, even most days, I've had new insight about what I've been talking about, and new stuff's coming up, or things have shifted, or, where I was in sort of the early part of the week changes so dramatically within days that I just think, gosh, I could almost be on here every hour giving you updates, but so that's probably not that realistic. But I guess it's acknowledging that things are moving so quickly, and we're not even in the year of the horse energy. And I do, as well as astrology, I talk about numerology. I'm also bringing in anything that feels relevant. And we're still in the year of the snake, the lunar calendar, Chinese zodiac, and we are sort of building up to the year of the horse. And everybody's talking about this, certainly in my sort of field of awareness. So there's a lot of anticipation and sort of building towards this energy and what it's going to bring. And I feel that speed is completely non-negotiable. Things are going to, we think things are moving fast now, they're going to pick up and kind of get to a pace that we've probably never experienced before. And even for people like us, and I include, if you're watching content like this, you have a level of awareness already, you kind of are tuned into what is going on, you have a bigger picture perspective. So, but even for us, I think it's going to feel quite wild and quite disorientating, just given the speed and the pace that things are shifting. For anybody that isn't necessarily tuned in, it's likely to be quite overwhelming. So I think that is worth sort of mentioning and being aware of. Although it's going to feel really fast and like, what on earth just happened type risk action, for us, it is also about holding the space and being a stabilizing presence for those who are perhaps going to be experiencing what feels to me like really sudden awakenings and activations, and things happening to them that might kind of send them into a spin or a spiral, because it's just so unexpected. And what I want to do is sort of pay a little bit of attention to the week that we've just kind of closing, I'm recording this on Sunday and then give you a heads up as to what is coming up in the next week, because it is, there is a lot. There's a lot to share. So we'll see how we go. And, I'll bring in sort of, whatever I'm guided to. But certainly I'm recording this, we're building up to the new moon in Capricorn. I've shared a video about that. The frustration came. I put a lot of content into that, I went into a lot of depth, but, since then I've just had so much more insight come through. And sometimes it can feel like I keep using the word frustration, and that there's a relevance there, which I'll come to in a minute. But it's like, I guess it's about understanding, and this is a message for me, but I'm sure it's for someone else, that sometimes, what we're doing, where we are right now, what we're creating is enough. I often get into that sort of slipstream of I want to, I need to be more, I need to do more, I need to give more, I need to share more, I need to know more. But it's kind of like acknowledging that actually where we are at any given moment is perfect, and trusting that, whatever I am sharing or whatever it is that you're creating or however you're showing up is absolutely perfect for where you are right now and for the people that you are interacting with, that you are in exchange with, whatever it is, whatever sort of, however you're interpreting what I'm saying. It is okay to just check in and say, what I'm doing is enough, because I'm feeling that as this energy picks up, and the next week it's going to really, really pick up, even though we don't have the eclipse in the Chinese lunar year until the 17th of February. As the energy starts to pick up, it's going to be quite easy to get carried away with the momentum. If you think about the horse kind of galloping through, it's majestic, but it's fast, and it can almost kind of, there is a sense of almost losing control because of the speed, because you get carried in the slipstream, and it's like, whoa, there's nothing to stabilize. So it's like, don't kind of, what's the word? I mean, don't let yourself kind of get into that state where, things are just moving so fast, you're almost forgetting to stop and check in and acknowledge where you are and appreciate where you are, if that makes sense, because it's going to be very easy to get carried away is what is coming through. So having that little bit of resistance, that little bit of limitation, that little bit of pull back is going to be really, really important. And I think that is something I'm going to be called to share on a quite regular basis and remind myself of as well, because it's going to be like all systems go is what it feels like, in an exciting way. But for those who have felt they've been held back, or, things haven't been happening and it's been frustrating, it's almost like that pullback before we're catapulted forward and things just go, whoa, and off we go. So, I'm going to talk, this past week, it's been really interesting. And I did an energy check-in around about Tuesday, I think, and I was in a really tight spot energetically. I talked about the squares in the chart with Chiron, all the personal planets were squaring Chiron at that time. And I felt like I was being squeezed in ways that, and I'm talking about energetically, ways that it's not been that intense before. I mean, I've had intensity before, but it just felt like everything came in, all my insecurities, all my wounds, all the negative voices, the imposter, everything just came like straight in and literally pinned me against a wall. There was nowhere I could go. I couldn't do anything. I felt like I was completely locked in, trapped almost. And that pressure, that squeeze, that force, it was really uncomfortable. But I wanted to share that again, because what happened was, normally I think my default setting would be to either try and escape, slither my way out, ignore, run away, or just, sometimes when things are uncomfortable, you don't want to deal with them, you kind of try and swallow it or hide it, bury it down. It was so in my face that I couldn't do anything. I just had to just kind of, it was just there. I couldn't do any of my normal responses. So I just had to let it be. And I remember at one point earlier in the week, And it's all the usual stuff that's coming up, self-criticism, I'm not good enough, who am I, all of that, the imposter syndrome, the inner critic, imposter, came right in, and I was like, oh my God, I thought I dealt with you, but you're here again. And it wasn't comfortable. It was excruciating actually, but like I say, instead of sort of do my usual, let's try and get out of here and not sort of deal with what's going on, I just had to let it come fully in. And something remarkable happened. And I think it was because I had to get to that point where the squeeze and the pressure was so intense that it was almost unbearable. It kind of was showing up in my body. I got really locked in, all my muscles tensed up. I had tension everywhere to a level which it's not been like that bad for a long time. And I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? And then on Wednesday, and I just interject, I have a Cosmic Currents newsletter that I send out every week with a heads up for the week ahead. If you want to receive that, please just sign up for my newsletter. I'll send it out on a Monday. I tend to, draft it over the weekend, once over on a Monday morning, and then it goes out. And I don't always fully engage with, I'm being honest here, I don't always fully engage with what's going on. I sort of read the transits, I interpret them, I write it down, I send it out. I don't always think about it. But I was kind of looking through sort of day by day in real time what was going on, but basically trying to support myself and give myself some insight into what on earth was happening. Why was I feeling, all this stuff all at once in such intensity? And Wednesday, I think I'd written Mercury was opposite Jupiter, and it was going to be mind-blowing, I think is what I put in my newsletter. There was also the sun was conjunct to the peacock star, and there was lots going on. And I think sometimes, when you read something like that, you kind of expect it to show up in a certain way. And what happened was mind blowing, but not in the way that I could have anticipated. I just kind of, by Wednesday, I was having suddenly all these people came in, and they're all people I know, but they all came in at exactly the right time to basically lift me up energetically. And, I had the most high frequency, high vibe conversations. I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt validated. And I didn't, not that I was going out to sort of, ask for that, but it was almost like all this stuff that had come in, and suddenly all these opportunities came along for me to, I guess, see myself through other people. And it was just wild, and the energies were building and building and building. And I don't know where I'm going with this. Where am I going? I just want to say that kind of from Wednesday onwards, everything just switched gears completely, and suddenly I think what really happened, if I'm honest and with myself, is that I had an upgrade, and the intensity and the squeeze and the pressure at the beginning of the week was what was needed to basically crack something open and bring something new through. And since Wednesday into Thursday, my clairaudience has just gone up a level. I've always been very intuitive. I've always been pretty psychic. I've had lots of insights, lots of downloads, but suddenly there is a clarity that wasn't there before. There is a confidence that wasn't there before. And I feel as if, I'm getting a lot more insight and messages and information through than I have ever done before. And it's exciting. I've decided I'm going to do a separate video and talk about the clairs and how I experienced them, because I think sometimes having people talk about it and what it's really like can be really helpful, because I had ideas of what clairaudience was, and the reality is actually very different to what I believed it would be. So sometimes I think you miss things because you have an expectation or an idea or a fixed idea or a belief of a certain thing, and what's showing up is slightly different, so you almost miss it. So I'm going to do that separately within the next few weeks, just, yeah, as an aside, but I do feel that I have had this upgrade activation, and then suddenly, people are coming in, people with certain charts are coming in with alignments that I'm working on in my own chart. Um, People are showing up. There's symbolism everywhere. There's patterns. There's numbers. There's spirit animals. It has gone quite. I mean, it's amazing. It's really cool, but it is a bit like, oh my god, what's happening? So I'd be interested to hear if anyone else is kind of experiencing that same thing. But actually, I know they are, because I've got some amazing friends that I can talk this sort of stuff with, and yeah, they have all had, well, not in their own way, they've had similar activations and upgrades going on. So I think there's definitely something really, really magical going on right now, and I don't see it kind of coming to an end anytime soon, which is exciting. But yeah, for example, my husband, who I doubt he'll watch this, he doesn't, I don't think he will anyway. Um, he's completely like not into any of this sort of stuff, and he actually came. He was away last night, and he came back this morning, and he said, "Oh, I had something really strange happen to me last night. The lights went off. It was really dark in the room I was in, and I swear to God, I felt someone come in the room and walk behind the bed." I said, and when I turned the light on, there was no one there, and I was like, "Ah, yes, okay. If this is happening to you, then this is like, yeah, this is really promising." So yeah, I'll be interested to hear if anybody else is experiencing the same sort of thing. But as I said, it just feels like that pressure was needed for me in order to, yeah, whether I release something that creates the upgrade, or whether it's all about divine timing as well. But we've got just so much going on at the moment. What's really beautiful as well, and it's being shown with this Capricorn new moon, we've got the beautiful monoceros energy opposing the sun and the moon. So this real magical energy is definitely being fired up and having to be integrated. But also, if we think of Capricorn, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And I'm going to talk about the Aquarius energy in a minute, but there's this kind of transition from Capricorn into Aquarius, which is where we're at. We're at the final degrees of Capricorn. We're moving into Aquarius next week. Lots of stuff's going to happen as that takes place. But if we think of Aquarius as having two rulers, because the ancient ruler is Saturn, the modern ruler is Uranus, it's really, really beautiful, because we've got this kind of structure being formed, being created with the new moon in Capricorn today, which is kind of going to give us the stabilizing energy that we need to almost hold us steady as we move through these upgrades and these activations. Because I know I'm sharing what's going on for me, but I'm really being shown that this is going to be happening to a lot of people, and it's going to look different for everybody. So you might be thinking, God, nothing's happening. Things can be happening beneath the surface that you're not necessarily aware of, that you're not quite ready to acknowledge. Things might be happening that you don't even think are anything like particularly special. And again, it's all about perception and the lens that you're looking through, the filter that you might have on. And sometimes you just need something just to shift slightly to realize that actually, yeah, there's some really cool stuff going on, and you just haven't been quite able to see it. So yeah, I have had a week where, like I said, the most amazing people have come in. I met my inner critic as part of a masterclass that a very amazing lady, Jen Thomas, who I met for the first time, held. And that was amazing, because suddenly I could see that my inner critic was actually running the show to a huge extent, and to be able to identify her and start to have engage with her and interact with her has been completely, like, almost life changing within a day or something. I mean, it's crazy, because suddenly when I was kind of realised that she's there, she's been there the whole time running the show, trying to keeping me safe. Really, I don't think she's like got bad intentions, but I'm talking about an aspect of me here. Gone off on a tangent, but to suddenly be able to recognize that this inner voice is kind of running the show and sort of second guessing and stalling me and holding me back and creating all this, oh, are you sure you want to do that? I'm not sure. Maybe we should just wait, maybe we shouldn't do it at all, or maybe it'd be safer if we just, yeah, that kind of voice. I met her, and so the next time she came in, after having met her the first time, and tried to do her usual, oh no, Louise, you don't want to go live with that video because what are people going to think. She says that a lot. I was like, hang on a minute. Really? And it was quite cool. I feel I'm talking like I've gone a bit crazy now, but that's fine. I'm Aquarius, I'm allowed to be weird. She almost realised in that split second that she came in with this negative thought that she didn't have legs to stand on, so she just walked off. And I was like, oh, if it's that easy, just by kind of personifying a part of yourself that normally, you might struggle with, and engaging with them and having a conversation with them, which was part of this masterclass. It's like, wow, things can really shift very quickly. And I guess it's the timing. I've had spirit animals come in. They've been there before, but suddenly they're like in right with me and working with me and teaching me, which again sounds crazy, but it's really cool. And yeah, it's just been like really, really bonkers. And yeah, the insight that I've had, through looking at certain people's charts, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've totally lost train of thought now. But I just wanted to, before I talk about next week, I just wanted to quickly mention the fact that we are in Gene Key 60. And again, I don't always bring the gene keys into my videos. I don't work with them that closely. I love human design. I love the gene keys, but I tend to dip in and out. But Gene Key 60 is a really interesting one. It's actually in the body graph in human design. It's in the root. So this is a very grounding energy. It's obviously Capricorn. I have Gene Key 60 in my human design and my gene keys because I have Jupiter is in Gene Key 60. So it is really about grounding expansion before it kind of takes off and making sure that you're very present and embodied before things can really expand, which I'm guessing, in a way, if I think about what's happened this week, the squares really forced me to come into my body and to be kind of like, because I was almost locked, I couldn't move. It was almost like you have to come fully in order to expand. Well, that's kind of how it's being shown. But Gene Key 60 or Gate 60 is the Magician. It's really cool. And the shadow of it is limitation, which I felt and have felt very intensely. This kind of like, things aren't going to work until the time is right, until things are fully aligned. And sometimes that can create a lot of frustration. Nothing's happening, or there's something wrong with me, or why has everything like come back in when I thought I dealt with it? Why is this old stuff coming in? Why has my body gone into lock? And, all the tightness that I thought I'd worked on, why is it all coming back in? And it's almost like we have to experience that shadow sometimes in order to move through to the gift, which is realism. So again, it's about being realistic and seeing something very clearly, perhaps for the first time. And I feel, again, this is playing out for me in real time because of this clairaudience. Suddenly this voice has almost kind of, yeah, just stepped up again. It's not even that it's louder or it's different tone or it's different information. It just feels more confident, and I have more confidence in it as part of me and as what it has to share. And when I kind of get that instant answer, I'm not kind of thinking, oh, that's just in my head, that's just my imagination. I'm actually starting to pay attention because I'm realizing that actually, no, it isn't. It's an aspect of me, but it is a higher, evolved, more aware aspect or fragment of me. So it is definitely worth listening to. And then the Siddhi of Gene Key 60 is justice, which again, really beautiful, because we can think about justice as, consequence of action, or, equality, but actually from a kind of more I don't know, high perspective, it's about cosmic balance. It's about things kind of falling into place in the way that they are meant to, the magic coming into being. And I'm just reading this message from Unlock Your Design. I'm on lots of different mailing lists, and I got a really cool email about 60, which is the Magician. So I just want to kind of paraphrase a little bit of what is in here, because it's about this pressure that comes through the limitation. And it's like, it says the Magician is not here to be constantly producing. He is here to hold pressure until form is ready. It's about having that structure to hold this beautiful energy that is coming in. And of course, the mind expects things to work in a certain way. And I've sort of been reminded of talking about expectations, expects things to show up and to appear to be experienced in a certain way, but it's not always going to be how you expect it to be. So it's about being open to seeing things from a different perspective, or for suddenly an insight or a realization just to land so fully that it's like, oh, I've always known this, but I never really got it before. And I think this is what's going to happen to us. It's pressure that can feel as if it has no release, but it's doing a lot of work beneath the surface, and it's about the timing of when it can be sort of released to break through. And because this gene key is in the root, or this gate in the root, this is like somatic pressure. So it's not necessarily mental, but it's pressure that comes through the physical body, which is, again, exactly what I have been experiencing. Yeah, just it's always interesting to see how, the gene keys are kind of working with the astrology and what's going on. Obviously, with really strong Capricorn, we've had this Capricorn stellium all week. That is creating a lot of. It does feel very physical. It feels very real. But let's have a quick chat about what's coming up next week, because we have got a crazy week coming up. And if you're on my mailing list, you're going to get the newsletter tomorrow. It's long, it's longer than it usually is. There's a lot there simply because there are so many transits taking place. And I think for anybody with strong Aquarian energy in your chart, this is going to be, it's going to be powerful for you. So obviously, we've all got Aquarius in our chart. So look to see which house Aquarius is in your chart. Look to see what planets or bodies or whatever you have got in Aquarius. I have got an Aquarius sun. So it kind of makes sense that I'm feeling this already, but it is definitely going to be quite... I want to use the word crazy, but not in a kind of fear-mongering way. I just think, I've already experienced quite a lot of stuff this week that, the kind of normal, rational me would just be like, Louise, you've absolutely lost your mind. And to come on and start talking to, a wide audience about the fact that I've got, animals coming in energetically, that, I've got voices in my head. It's just like, yeah, she has lost the plot. But no, I really don't think I have. So yeah, it feels very exciting. But yeah, next week we've got the kind of the hangover from the new moon, which is really beautiful, because that is going to give us this solid structure, very stabilizing. Something new is coming in. It is magical, but it's also very solid and rooted and grounded, which is absolutely perfect. And that is just keep coming back to that when things do feel a little bit like everything's just gone completely like la. Uranus is really, really in the spotlight this week for a number of reasons. And again, I go through this day by day in my newsletter, but we have got... the sun is going to move into Aquarius on Tuesday, but before then there is on Monday a sextile to Neptune. So this is beautiful, because this is really kind of a boost to our intuition. and to connecting to something that, you know, is of a different realm, of a different frequency potentially. So we're going to be feeling like, yeah, intuition, downloads, insights right from Monday are just going to be like coming in, whether you're ready or not, I feel, and don't necessarily anticipate it to show up in a certain way. Just be open and trust if things are coming in, if you're getting ideas, if you're getting sort of insights, just, you know, allow it to come in and yeah, and see what it's got to say. Mercury's in trine to Uranus and sextile to Saturn as well on Monday. So again, tomorrow is a day for downloads, seeing something from a different perspective, a new insight, a new way of thinking, a new mindset, a new belief that just blows everything out of the water, changes our perspective on something. This can show up in so many ways, and it's going to be, because these two, well, particularly Mercury and Uranus, are both in earth signs, it's going to be so like embodied, and you're just going to feel it in your bones that there will be no denying it, and no going back. And then Tuesday, it's like, oh my God, Mars comes around to create a trine to Uranus and a sextile to Saturn. Yeah, speed, action, upgrades, mastery, growing up into the next version of the spiritual self is coming to mind. Yeah, just, yeah, very exciting. And then the sun is going to move into Aquarius. So bearing in mind that Uranus is ruled by Aquarius, so, you know, although Uranus is in Taurus at the moment, Aquarian energy is kind of comes as part of the package with Uranus. So Uranus has already been strong Monday and Tuesday. Then the sun moves into Aquarius. Mercury is also going to move into Aquarius on the same day. So that's just like, wow, you know, again, very galactic, very cosmic, very left field, kind of black sheep type things, you know, where things might have felt a bit like unconventional or non-traditional in the past. Suddenly it's going to be like, no, this is just normal now. Atlantis, which is in Aquarius, comes to conjunct Pluto in Aquarius and Vesta all in Aquarius all together. That's really, really potent. The Sphinx in Pisces is conjunct the North Node. So again, there is something coming up that just feels so much bigger than the self, but it's ancient at the same time. Aquarius kind of messes up with timelines, you know, it's like, it can be, it's very catalytic energy. It's air, but it can, yeah, just kind of, I want to say it's very quantum, and it feels very quantum this week. So we can almost jump timelines instantly this week is what it feels like. Then Wednesday, Mercury and the Sun both now in at 1 degree of Aquarius are Cazimi. So something is coming to light, and it's going to be yeah, illuminating, clarifying, truth coming through, different perspective, very unexpected potentially. Who knows? Very, very exciting. And then we've also got Venus is moving. She's already in Aquarius. She's going to meet with Atlantis and Vesta. Something really cool might be coming up there. And then Thursday, we've got Mercury is going to meet with Pluto. Really cool. I'm just like, yeah, I don't even know what to say about all of this. It's in the newsletter anyway, but it just keeps on coming. It keeps on coming. And then Friday, Pluto and the Sun meet together. So there's a Pluto Cazimi. So it's almost like a rebirth of the self, of your power, of who you are. Massive transformation, massive shedding. Mars is sextile Neptune on Friday, sorry, then is going to move into Aquarius. So then Mars joins the Aquarius party. Yeah, Aquarius energy is just like off the scale this coming week. So, and then, yeah, there's more happens at the weekend, mainly all in Aquarius. So, yeah, there's a lot. It's, yeah, there's a lot. But I would say be open to possibility and yeah, try and stay as grounded as possible. If you think Aquarian energy, Uranian energy, very electrical. So, and already I have kind of seen, as my frequency has been going like a little bit crazy this week. Things are, it does affect electrical appliances. Music keeps going on and off. Lights are like doing weird things. And yeah, being grounded is going to really serve you well. So, um, I'm going to stop now. I think sometimes when I'm talking about certain energies, I've noticed this. My energy almost like adapts to the energy that I'm talking about. So I do feel a bit like, um, which is, yeah, maybe that's why all these animals have come in to try and ground me and keep me kind of like contained while all these activations take place. But it's exciting, really exciting, and it's kind of what we have been waiting for a long time, because what I'm being shown is that when you suddenly see things from a different perspective, the whole of your world, the whole of your reality can suddenly change. And it's often like, it's almost like we need something to shift so that we can almost like be like there's kind of like abrupt shaking lightning bolt, like wake up, like almost like breaking through. Is it breaking through? No, breaking down to break through. That's the expression I'm looking for. So it's like, yeah, we may get a quite big wake up call, and it could come in any form. This could be on the main stage, in the media, in the politics. I'm sure there'll be lots of things going on this week, but it could also be in your own life. And it's just like suddenly like this kind of lightning bolt of clarity that it's almost like you just know it, you remember it as truth, but it just wasn't accessible until now. But suddenly with this Mercury cazimi, with this Pluto cazimi, with all these trines to Uranus, with all the other amazing stuff going on, it's like this merging of timelines, past with Atlantis meets future via the present. Everything's going on. And of course, just one last thing, this is the final week of Neptune in Pisces, because on Monday the 26th Neptune moves into Aries. So we've got this one last final week, 7 days of Neptune at the very final minutes of the very final sign, finishing what has been a long transit, because Neptune moves so slowly around the wheel, coming to an end. So this is something that is really coming to a conclusion. Something is ending, but we've got all this incredible energy of the future coming into almost, shift. It's like there is no ending and there's no beginning, because everything is constantly moving forward. But again, it's like, just take some time this week if you can to honor this, because this is a really big deal. We don't this won't happen again in our lifetime, so it is a big deal. But I hope you've enjoyed slightly different approach to this video, but we're going to go with it. Maybe this is the new Louise, who knows? Who knows? We'll see. But as always, thank you so much. I really am grateful for anyone who comments. Not only is it really cool to read what you'll think and how you're experiencing, but I hate to say this, it helps the algorithm, YouTube, la-di-da, and we're growing steadily, very slowly and steadily, which I guess is Gene Key 60. And this is how I get my expansion, slowly but steady. But yeah, it's all about, I guess, sharing and helping other people to know that they are not going crazy. So yeah, if I've done that, then I think I've done my job this week. But thank you so much for your support, for watching my content, and for being here. And yeah, I look forward to being back very soon. There's going to be lots to talk about, I have no doubt. All right, take care.